Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim, the Humble Hermit from Come As You Are Oracle. I'm going to do the collective for today. Today is. I was gonna go out of order. Today is Tuesday. It is March 10th, March 11th. I don't even know. I told you guys, like, my phone never tells me. March 10th. 2026. You may follow me on the Talk the Tube, my blog, or not. Totally up to you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it doesn't fit, don't make it fit. If some of it fits, God's kiss. We love that for you. Whatever doesn't, leave it on the table for someone else. You don't need to take on energy that wasn't meant for you. It's just that simple. We're going to use the Love Oracle by Simplistic Mystic. So we're going to see, is it love? I'm hearing the song, What is Love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. I used to love that song. I used to listen to that song all the time. We got 2 on the table, 3 on the table. Somebody on fire. Oh. Okay. We got 3 on the table. We've got 1 card in reverse. Four on the table, 1 card in reverse. 5 cards on the table, 1 card in reverse. We're going to do 2 more shuffles. I wish they would do another deck, like a companion deck, like a Love Oracle number 2 or something. 2nd edition something. They have other decks. Simplistic Mystic has other decks on their website if you're interested. I actually went and bought them all, and I bought double of one because I didn't remember. But they're good decks and very similar. I don't know. There's something about this deck. It's like, I think the 4th or 6th deck I ever bought, and I just love it. I think I have 3 copies. I'm not going to lie. All right, we got 7 on the table. We're going to do 1 more shuffle. 7 on the table, 1 in reverse. Y'all know I got a lot to say about this. We got 8 with bottom of the deck. 8 with bottom of the deck. Okay, why did that sound like putting on the Ritz? Putting on the Ritz with bottom of the deck. That was just a coincidence. I didn't do that on purpose. Or maybe I did. We've got date. We've got music in the reverse, which I'm telling you right now, I'm not a fan of. Like, I love music. So what is up with the music? Do we not like music? What's the deal? We get divine intervention. We've got social media. We've got party. Family. Signs and synchronicities. And between the lines, bottom of the deck. Feminine, masculine, take how it resonates. It does not matter. So I'm telling you, this music card in reverse is, like, it's what stands out to me the most because, like, I freaking love music. Like, why is it in the reverse? So they wrote on the card musician, snake charmer, harmony, and melodic. So let me kind of tell you what I'm seeing here. Let me. I hate to use this word, but let me give you some tea. How many times have I used that in 2 years? Not very often. Just like people say narcissistic is used too much, I think tea is used too much. What? So I think okay, So I think somebody is going to meet somebody or be set up with somebody like at a family party. Okay. This would be like, and these are just examples, but this would be like getting invited to your cousin's, I mean, depending on how old you are, right? But getting invited to your cousin's 30th birthday party and you go, you're single, you're unattached, and little do you know that you go and your cousin tries to set you up with somebody there, like one of their friends, one of their coworkers, something like that. I think there's going to be a date, okay? But I think on this date, I think with the music card in reverse, I think somebody's going to feel like it's not a match. Okay. Like I feel like somebody's going to go on this date with this friend, this coworker, whatever the case, and they're going to feel like, well, like we don't have anything in common, like we're out of sync. Okay. So what I'm seeing is with the divine intervention and the social media, I kind of hate to. Okay, let me just say this. As always, I would tell you to go with your intuition. I would tell you to go with your gut. I would tell you to ask for divine guidance, right? I think for a lot of people, this person, okay, that you go on the date with, that it just doesn't seem to mesh. I actually think that this is some type of divine connection that was brought about on purpose by the divine, right? Can I say the divine too many times? I don't think so. Here's the thing. I think whoever this person is that was set up with you at this family party, friend, coworker, whatever, family member of a friend, whatever. This person like got told about you ahead of time, right? Whereas you really didn't. You just met them at the party and they're like, "Hey, we think you'd be great with Nadia. Hey, we think you'd be great with Paul." I think this person got to look at your social media beforehand. If you're not on social media, then to me, this is somebody getting information from your family, from your friend, your coworker, whatever. Whoever invites you to this party, they're getting information from that person. Like, hey, like I want you to meet Kim. She's really great. And I'm going to tell you about Kim. And then they proceed to tell them like all these amazing things about me, right? About you. I was just using me as an example. Okay, I seemed like I was fine until I came in here, and as soon as I sat down, my nose started to get stuffy. I really think it's the cat hair, because I've been home since just before 4 o'clock, and my nose was clear, and my nose was clear all day long at the warehouse. I didn't even wear my mask today because I was like, fuck it, I'm fine. I don't cough, nothing. I didn't even sneeze once at work, which usually when I have a cold, I sneeze all the time. Anywho, so what I'm saying here is somebody got a peek at you beforehand, right? Whereas you did not. So when you meet this person at the party, and maybe you don't hang out with them the whole time at the party, right? Maybe you show up at the tail end and they're leaving, or maybe you show up and you guys get set up on this date, but you go your separate ways. You have people you want to talk to, right? Or maybe they're leaving or you're leaving or whatever. But this person got information on you ahead of time. Okay, so like they have some idea of who you are. But when you go on this date, when the two of you go on this date, like you have no information and you're just going off of like what you see on this date. And I mean, let's just be honest. Do we want to be 100% when we go on a date? Sure. Is that always the case? No. Some people go on dates and they're actually like having really shitty days, like uh, and you could say, well, why didn't you freaking cancel? But at the same time, like whoever this person is, like, maybe they just really wanted to go out with you. Like they really liked what they heard and what they saw. So they wanted to go on a date, they wanted to snag you up as quick as possible. Maybe they really like who you are, you know? And if they were to see your social media, or again, if they were to hear stories from family, from friends, they'd have a little bit of an inside scoop. The thing is I feel like going on this date, you didn't have that. This other person didn't have that. And it left them feeling like there was something off with the person, or like it just didn't seem to flow, or whatever the case, right? And it leaves one person feeling like, well, I don't know that I would go on a second date. Like it seemed like it wasn't, like we weren't meshing, like we had nothing in common, or, something like that. I'm getting two things with the signs and synchronicity and the between the lines. Okay. Again, this person, I mean, they got the signs, right? Like they heard stories about you, they saw your social media, whatever the case. Like, like they like what they see. You, on the other hand, going on this date and feeling like if something was off, feeling like the two of you didn't mesh. But again, this is some type of divine connection. This was divinely planned, whatever the case. I think somebody is being called to like read between the lines. Okay. If you go out on a date with somebody, let's say initially you meet them at the party, right? The family party, and you think, okay, like they seem nice enough, they're good looking, whatever. Like, okay, like I'll go out on a date with them. And then you go out on this date and you realize like there's something feels off, like the two of you just maybe don't have enough in common. The flow of the evening is it's just not working. Someone is being called to read between the lines. Somebody is being called to acknowledge that not every first date is amazing, even with an amazing person. Sometimes you got to give it a second chance. And again, I'm never going to promote abuse or anything like that. So like if you were to go out on a date and somebody were to treat you like shit, obviously get up and leave. Like get up and leave. But I don't think that's what this is. This is just kind of like two people going out on a first date. One has insider information, one does not. And the one that doesn't just feels like left out of the loop, like left out there to flounder. Like, I don't know anything about Paul. I don't know anything about Nadia. And, sometimes first dates can be awkward. Sometimes you have questions that you like to ask and then you forget. And sometimes they give you an answer and then you forget the answer. We're all human. We're all human, right? And dates are not at all, I mean, they can be easy. Yeah, right? And I think most people tend to think like, oh, if the date is easy, then that's the person you're supposed to be with. The thing is just because the date isn't easy doesn't mean that's not the person you're supposed to be with either. Because again, there's all kinds of factors that go into that. And I think somebody's just being called to look between the lines, kind of take it all in, digest all this information, look at this person, listen to this person, and ask for guidance. Like if you go out on this date, right, and they seem like they like you and everything like that, but for some reason the date just felt like maybe one-sided. Um, oh, okay. That could be it too. If this person has insider information, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. If this person has insider information on you and the two of you go on a date, this person might feel like, and not that they necessarily do, but they might feel like they already know a lot about you, so they're not going to ask questions, and you're going to be left to like ask them questions about them, and the conversation is all about them. And at the end of the night, you're like, well, they didn't ask anything about me. Like, they're not interested. They don't like me. Again, I think whoever this is has insider information. They already like what they see. They already like what they hear. They went on the date and they did it on purpose because, I mean, even look at the social media, right? There's a little heart up there. So if it feels like the date, and I said this, if it feels like it's off, if it feels like it's one-sided, right? If you're asking all the questions and it seems like they don't care about you, it's because they might already know about you, you know? Like, and you guys know how first dates are. You know, you ask them about their career, you ask them if they own a home, you ask them how about their family, their hobbies, sports, their car, you know, like all that kind of stuff, like all that new kind of stuff. And if they don't ask you anything, you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, well, don't you want to know, like, how many jobs I've had, you know, when I bought my home, how many dogs I have had in my life? Like, you don't want to know about, um, you know, if I was ever married or if I have kids, you know. And the thing is this person already kind of knows. They already kind of know. They got the inside scoop. And I'm going to say this too. Don't ever be afraid to, if you get set up on a date with somebody that you meet through family, that you meet through friends, when you go out on the date, do not be afraid to say, hey, so what did Beth tell you about me? What did Tommy tell you about me? Like, did they tell you about my family? Did they tell you about my job? Like, do you know anything about me? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking that question. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking that question because, in all honesty, I don't think there's anything wrong with this person getting the inside scoop. You know, if your cousin went up to them and said, "Hey, I think you would be great for my cousin Jeannie, Todd. You know, these are her stats, blah 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 blah. Would you maybe want to go out on a date with her? I think the two of you would really hit it off." And this person likes what they hear, right? So you guys meet at this party for your cousin's birthday, and the cousin's like, well, you know, would the two of you maybe like to go out on a date? I think the two of you would have a lot in common. And then you both agree to go out on the date. There is nothing wrong with this person getting insider information. And that's just my opinion. You can always feel how you want to feel about that. Obviously, I'm not gonna say yay or nay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with going out on this date and saying, "Hey, what do you know about me?" Like, you know, did Beth tell you anything about me? You know, did Craig tell you anything about me? Like, and not in a creepy, you know, mean, nasty, whatever way, but like in a literal, like, hey, what do you already know? So I don't tell you the same thing over and over and over again, you know? And I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, like, tell me about yourself. And then you reciprocate, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think as adults, I think in this day and age, I think it would be nice to cut through the bullshit and actually have a conversation and get to know one another on a personal level. And I think it would be, don't hate me, I think it would be nice to do all that without, um, I just heard the threat, but that's not the way I want to put it, with the idea of sex looming over the date. Um, and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I have been on first dates where I had sex on the first date. Yes. Second date, third date, fifth date, whatever. Yes. As I've gotten older and wiser, I've realized, like, when you introduce sex, and not that I don't feel like there's anything wrong with sex per se, but when you introduce it so early in a relationship that you're trying to build, you kind of cloud that relationship. You kind of convolute that connection. You should really try and put that off I don't want to say forever, and I don't even really want to say as long as possible, but like you should put that off. Like you should get to know each other on a personal level. You should go through like a hugging, cuddle, kissy phase. I don't know, like a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe a couple months, I don't know. But I just think that we tend to introduce sex a little too early and it clouds everything else. Because sex can be really great. Sex can be amazing. And when you introduce it, like that's all you're interested in then, right? It's like, oh, let's go have sex. Like, let's have sex. It's time to have sex. You want to have sex? Let's have sex. And you kind of miss the whole point of like that early initial dating period where you should just be getting to know one another and getting comfortable with one another. Having sex is a different form of comfortability, right? And I just think we could stand to wait a little bit longer, I think, and build on the connection instead of just automatically throwing sex in there. That's just my opinion. Because again, I used to do that. Like I'm not gonna lie, I would have no problem going on a first date with somebody and having sex with them. And I would always tell myself, well, if you're not compatible, then why go on the second date? But at the same time, like, how about getting to know somebody as a person and waiting a little bit? Like, what's wrong with that? And I feel like as I've gotten older and older, and hopefully wiser, I if somebody were to ask me out tomorrow on a date, I'd be like, okay. I don't know that I would bring that up and be like, hey, I'm not going to sleep with you on the first date, just so you know. I don't know if I would have to bring that up on the date at some point because somebody, would be like, hey, um, I don't know how that would be introduced, but at some point I would have to introduce that in because I have no plans to date people and have sex with them on the first, second, third, fifth, 10th date. Like I want a real connection. I want a real relationship. And if you're not willing to build that with me, if you're not willing to wait on the physical aspect, then in my mind, it's already over. And I'm just throwing that out there, like as my opinion, and just thought that it might be a little bit nicer to build your relationship on something other than the physical. Because again, sometimes that clouds everything else, it clouds your judgment. But yeah, I think somebody's just being called to kind of give this person, a second look. And again, maybe you haven't been out on this date. Maybe in, August, you're going to meet somebody at a family party and they're going to be like, hey, you want to go out on a date with so and so? This is just a call to kind of take charge of that date and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to throw out information about yourself. And again, don't be afraid to set parameters for dating if you feel the need. I would never tell anybody how to date. I'm just giving tips. That's all I'm doing. I'm giving tips. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope it resonates. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if anything you were entertained. I hope you all had a lovely Tuesday. I hope you have a fabulous evening. Just a reminder, tomorrow I'm off. The only plan I the only plan I have is to go to Menards and or Home Depot to get some sand for my boxing bob. Other than that, I have no plans tomorrow, so I will be at home. I will be doing readings. I will be doing other things. So, yeah, just letting you guys all know. I hope everybody has a lovely evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.